Hey guys, before we get started here, I just want to say a special thank you to our sponsor at overtake.com. If you are a Subaru guy like I am, and you're looking for parts by Subaru enthusiasts for Subaru enthusiasts, head on over to overtake.com. Check out all their stuff. They make everything from dress-up products to their new top-mount intercoolers. Head on over there, check out Art and the Boys, and tell them Devin sent you. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Project Devo 722. Devin here again. This week we are talking about Yosuke Ashikawa, the founder or the godfather of Nissan. Ashikawa was born in 1880 to a really, really wealthy family, a really well-off family. His dad was the 10th head of the Ashikawa family, a local lord serving under the Chashu clan. His mother was the niece of Karu Ino, which was the head of the Chashu clan. And if you guys know your Japanese history, the Chashu clan is one of the clans that helped overthrow the Edo shogunate, which basically there's a couple periods in Japan's history. One is the Edo period of Japan's history. They are one of the clans that helped overthrow the Edo clan, which was basically the rulers of Japan at that one point of time, which ended the Edo portion of Japan's history. So he had a big family tree. Let's put it this way. He had a lot of power in local government and in government if he really wanted it. But he never wanted that. So he decided he wanted to build his own wealth, build his own legacy upon everything that he knew. So what he wanted to do was he wanted to learn how to build things from the ground up. Learn from the inside to the outside. And two main instances in his life that basically gave him this mindset. One of those was he hated when he would watch business owners and businessmen cower at the feet of politicians to get politicians to pass certain things or do certain things to help them forward their business. He thought it made them look weak and made them look like they were servants and not in control of their own businesses, their own destiny. And then also when he was very sickly, when he attended college in the Tokyo Institute, he was very, very sick and couldn't really do much of anything. So he wanted to feel like his work was doing something for people or to benefit people. So he felt like working at the lower end of the totem pole did that. Like it gave him an accomplishment. So going on in his early terms of life after college, he would work at Toshiba and a couple other companies as a basic mechanic, going around working on machines and stuff like that, learning the ins and outs of the machines, the ins and outs of the most of the stuff he was working in was like iron ore related or steel related, so learning the in and out of the foundries and stuff like that. And where it made a big influence on him was when he was working at Toshiba as a mechanic, studying the mechanics and the mechanical equipment there. He decided then to travel to America for about a year and work at a local place in California, where he would learn iron ore techniques and iron practices that helped him refine Japan's. When he would go back, refine and found a new form of ironworking in Japan. And after about a year back in Japan, later on in 1905, when after he returned to Japan in 1906, he went back to the United States, where he encountered the automobile industry for the first time. So Ford, GM was founded the same year, and he saw them and looked at how the mechanics and everything were working, and he decided that just by looking at that it had limitless potential in that type of industry, and he really wanted to get into that. When he came back home in 1910, he founded the Tabata Imano KK in 1910, which was in Fukuoka Prefecture, which basically aimed at creating new iron workings that dealt with a lot of flat and smooth surfaces to basically create a more of a sturdy and stronger binding in the foundations of what their steel was doing, which is basically the forerunner of the new Hitachi metals practices that they have over there currently. Over the next couple of years, he would purchase and sell a couple more companies until his family tasked him with something that he never really wanted to do in 1928. And that was they asked him to come out and resurrect a company that family owned that was failing. That company was run by his then brother-in-law. The company's name was Kohara Kogyo. He took that company over, accepted the task of that, and then most of the time it was common practice in Japan to name a company after the owner or the person running it. And he would never really wanted his family name. He never really wanted to be that type of person to spread his family name. So what he did was he named the company Nissan Sangyo, which is basically Japan Industry, basically naming the company after the country or the people. Basically, this practice he wanted to be owned by the people. So the company belonged to the shareholders of Japan across Japan, and should be contributed to the well-being of the Japanese society and the public interest, is basically his public service announcement to the people when he took over the company and renamed it. And if you haven't noticed, this was the moment that the Nissan Corporation was formed, because Nihon Sangyo was then shortened to Nissan, right? So Ni, the first part, and then San, the first part of the second name, was born. This was Nissan Corporation that had many companies under them. So they had insurance, they had automotive. Well, the automotive was they're kind of like a infantile. They were just building engines at this point. Insurance, banking, all different types of stuff. They even had a chemicals industry, all under the same Nissan blanket. Akakawa would then get it in with another firm, and they would go over and buy another Japanese automaker. At that point, it was Datsun, so Datson. And at that point, when they bought Datsun, they decided to expand their Nissan's automotive thing, and they decided to build a annex in Tokyo. At that point in time, there was a flood, destroyed the annex, and the word "san" in Japan means to fail or failed. So once that flood happened, they wanted to kind of reinvent the name, so they made it Datsun. So Dat S-O-N, not or S-U-N, not S-O-N as the original one was. And Datsun meaning that, and then sun to be reflected as the rising sun of Japan. And then in 1931, after the purchase and the restructuring in Tokyo, and the renaming, the first Datsun saloon, which I have a picture right here, rolled off the line in Yokohama in 1934. Now, he didn't know the juggernaut that Nissan was going to end up being over the next so many years. They would carry the Datsun name all the way up until the early 1980s. Before then, everything else got then branded Nissan. And the Nissan in the last few years has gone through some some pains, especially with some of their mechanical stuff going on with their CVT transmissions and stuff like that. But they still make a good, gas compliant car. They are still running, they still have their performance divisions where they're in racing and everything else. But the one thing that this founder and some of the other founders that you really want to look at when I go into these is these guys were the type of people, like this guy right here, gave up his entire, almost like inheritance, because he wanted to build it his own way, and he wasn't going to take no for an answer, to the point where he was working next to the small guy. One of his jobs, and when I was reading and doing the research on this, I think he was getting paid like 43 cents an hour at one of the jobs in Japan, because he wanted to learn the ins and outs from the ground up. He didn't want to just be handed the lead because of what his last name was. And this man, not content with being born in a distinguished family at all, and didn't want to take the stuff that the background opened up for him, he labored on the front lines with everybody else. You know what I mean? And he worked as a factory mechanic all the way up to where he owned the company, and he devoted himself to the future of not just Japan's industry, because he did a lot for Japan's industry. I mean, the steel industry, the iron industry, the automotive industry. Like, Nissan had its hands in everything, and he was at the forefront of all this. So this guy did amazing things, and this just shows you, if you have the resolve to do stuff and you want to work hard enough and you want to go out and grab that stuff, you can go out and grab it. All right, guys, thanks for watching another episode of The Founders. Like, follow, subscribe, comment if you want who you want to see on the next one. Otherwise, I'm just going to keep on rolling with this. We'll see you next time. Have a good one.